Hello everyone, this is Julia. Thank you so much for joining me on my craft room adventures. Today I have a mini trifold card to share with you using Stamps and Dice by Sunny Studio Stamps. I started by stamping out all of my images from the Meow and Furever stamp set, the balloon rides, and also what you'll see in the next clip are the country scenes. So I'm just using Copic markers to color them in. I'm using Y15, Y11, Y13, sorry, then Y11. Going back in with a lot more of the Y15 just to add more shading, and then blending that out with Y00 as my second to lightest shade, and then Y000 as my highlight shade. Also adding a little bit of R20 as some blush on the cheeks. And I really love those country scenes, and since I wanted to do a trifold card, I didn't want to add a lot of bulk, so I had the idea to actually color it. This is my very first time doing any actual scene coloring. I do have to practice a lot, but I really enjoyed it and I hope I get to do it a lot more. So I started by mapping out where I would want the shadows to be, and then I'm just going in with a G17 just to map out where I want my hills to go. And then blending that out with G02. And there's quite a bit of difference between the G17 and the G02, but they actually do blend very nicely once you go over those a few times. Then going in with G00, and I won't be coloring the top of this little scene. I will be doing some ink blending on the card base for that. And I'm just using the coordinating dice for the country scenes to cut that out, and then just layering it over the ink blended piece that I will be doing in just a second. Or maybe a little more than a second because there's quite a bit of coloring. Again, going in with a G17, adding more shading, back in with a G02. Then blending that out with G00. And then G000. Again with G02, and I added quite a lot of layers for this because I really wanted the blend to get smoother. Like I said, I haven't had a lot of practice with coloring full scenes, so this was quite new to me, and I will practice on that more, but I do like how it turned out for my first try. I just used a Copic multiliner just to draw in the hills so that it would match with the top scene. And now I'm using, again, the green markers to color in my tree. I just added the G28 as my darkest shade so that it would show up a lot darker than the hills that I just colored. So G28, G17, and the G02. I'm using E47 for the darkest shade on my trees, and then E44 to blend that out. And then a little bit of E43 as the lightest shade. The rest of the trees I just colored off camera, and I'm just using a little bit of the BG quadruple zero on the clouds. Then I colored the roof of the house with the same brown shades. I didn't really show this on camera because I didn't end up having room for the house. I'm using R89 for my hearts as my darkest shade, then R85 to blend that out. Then the R83. And finally the R81. I also use the R83 and the R81 for the flowers that I will be using for the wreath and the little flower boxes on beneath the windows. I wanted my cats to be like gray white cats, so I'm using C5 as my darkest shade, then blending that out with C3, then C1, and as my lightest shade I'm using C0. Again using the R20 for my blush, and also for the insides of the ears. And I'm using the same color combination for the like guy cat with his little bow tie, which is so cute. Again, the C5, C3, C1, and C0. Just adding some shading around the center of his body. Then I'm using C3 as my darkest shade for her. And she's just having this like bow collar, which is also just so adorable. Then blending that out with C1 on both of them. Adding some shading beneath the bow tie as well. Then C0. Adding my blush with R20. And then I'm blending out the C3 on her with C0. And I'm also bringing in the C00 for this one. Then I just went around and added some stippling details with the C3 for the little girl cat and the C5 for the two guys. Then for my ink blending, I'm using Tumbled Glass and Salty Ocean Distress Oxide ink, and I'm ink blending just straight onto the card base. I'm just adding in my little panel of that I just colored to make sure how far down I need to pull the ink. And I'm making a mini trifold card because I wanted it to be sized to fit the like house treat bag add-on dies. I'm adding the clouds and the sun just with liquid glue, and also the scene with liquid glue. Then I'm adding in my cute little couple, and also adding some flowers to the grass. Then to work on my house for the outside, I die cut all the pieces for the house add-on, and I just cut them from light pink cardstock and white cardstock. Then I'm just layering the roof pieces, alternating between the two styles, and just adding them one on top of the other onto the base piece. I die cut the window frames twice out of white cardstock and layered them onto the light pink cardstock just for a little bit of dimension. And the like flower boxes I die cut from white wood grain cardstock. Then I added some spun sugar distress ink and a brick stencil to the front of my card. Again, ink blending directly on the card base, just so that I would have some brick detailing. And I thought the light pink was just cute for Valentine's Day. Also adding quite a bit of the spun sugar on my roof, just for a little bit of an ombre look and a little bit more dimension. Then I'm gluing it down with, at the top with liquid glue and at the bottom with a little bit of foam tape so that it would have some dimension again. And then I'm heat embossing the sentiment from the stamp set Meow and Furever, the Meow you doin', which I could just imagine the little guy coming up to pick her up from the day like, Meow you doin'. Wouldn't that be fun? Just heat embossing that with Ranger Superfine embossing powder in silver. Then adding my hill to the card base. Also adding in my, what is it called? The door and the windows. That's it. Then I just laid down the flowers and I added ink to the top of glue to the top of the flower box. I just added that. I added some foam squares to the back of the flower boxes so that they would match the height of the windows. And now I'm just adding those with liquid glue. Up top you can also see that I glued together some flowers to just build a flower wreath for my door, because I had some colored ones left over and I thought it would be fun just to add some flowers to the door. And we add our little suitor just with foam squares. And I'm just removing some of them so that it would match the height of the door. Then to embellish, I'm using the Nouveau Aqua Shimmer pen in glitter gloss, just adding lots of sparkle and shine, and doing the same thing on the inside. I just decided to not adhere the card together until I was done embellishing. Then I'm using Stardust Stickles, and I'm just adding them to the bottom of the clouds and also the centers of the flowers and the little heart. And then I'm adding them to the roof just to add some shine there, because when you have a pink roof, it has to be sparkly, right? So just adding that to all the little scallops. Also adding it to the top. And then again adding it to the insides of the flowers. Then to finally adhere my card, I'm adding liquid glue to the card that has the front on it, and then layering in the second one so you have plenty of room to write your message, even though it's like a smaller size card. And that finished off my card for today. I really like how it turned out. It's just such a fun card for Valentine. There they are having a little picnic, which I think is just super cute. I just love those little kitties. Thank you so much for watching and spending this time with me. I really hope you like this one, and it's just such a cute little card for Valentine's Day, I think. And I really like trifold cards because you have like an inside surprise and still room to write a message. I hope you have a wonderful week. Until next time, bye!